Hey, Mike with No Problems Gaming here, and today's video we'll be doing a review on Disgaea 6 Defiance of Destiny, so let's get into it. So Disgaea 6 is one of the latest entries in the long-running Disgaea series. I first played the original Disgaea back on PS2, and this sixth installment of the series takes you back to the Netherworld, but this time you're playing as Zed, an undead zombie, on a quest to defeat the God of Destruction. And so it's a whole new wacky adventure similar to other Disgaea games in the past, where you'll meet a unique cast of characters, like a money-hungry king, a new Prism Ranger like the Power Rangers, and you'll even team up with your trusty zombie dog to take out this God of Destruction. You'll also unravel the mystery behind Super Reincarnation, a magical power that allows you to continue to reincarnate to grow stronger with the hopes of taking down the God of Destruction. Now, if you aren't familiar with Disgaea in general, they're a highly addictive series of tactical RPGs, and this game follows in that same footsteps. Now, for me, I put well over 100 hours into this game, so needless to say, it's definitely engaging and addicting, and it brings back a lot of the classic elements from Disgaea games in the past as well. So some classic areas definitely make a reappearance in this game. For example, you're able to visit the Dark Assembly, which is sort of like the Netherworld Senate, and in this assembly you'll be able to pass various bills to increase your team's power and give you special bonuses throughout the game. On top of that, you're able to reincarnate in this area, which basically allows you to revert back to level 1 and gain a percentage of your powers, allowing you to completely level up again, but be even stronger the next time around. And you can do this infinitely throughout the game to continually power up your characters time and time again. There's also a ton of different classes that you can change between during this process. So you'll have ninjas, thieves, archers. You can even reincarnate as monsters that you kill along the way, all with their own unique skill sets and powers, advantages and disadvantages as well. And so you can switch around between these with characters, which gets very addicting as you're maybe trying to learn specific abilities for a character, quickly grow weapon proficiency, and make them more powerful overall. Now, another unique element with this Dark Assembly is that the senators will be either in favor or likely to veto different bills that you pass. And so you'll be faced with the options to try and bribe the senators or give them gifts beforehand to make them more likely to vote in favor of your bill. If the bill fails, you can pay them off to get the bill passed in your favor, or you can even decide to persuade them by force and defeat the different voting members that were against you, and if you succeed, you'll end up passing what you tried to pass to begin with. And so it's a fun feature throughout the game, and it's kind of almost like a little mini game that you can take advantage of to power up your characters in between the tactical combat. Another cool addition to this game is a cheat zone, which basically allows you to adjust how you progress in terms of money, experience, mana that you gain, and much more throughout the battles. So you'll be given a percentage gauge for multiple different aspects, and you can adjust them accordingly. And so each one will start at 100%, but you can bring some down, bring others up higher. And so maybe you need to get a lot of mana to reincarnate and learn a special power. You might put your mana to the max for a few battles to really gain that quickly. Or maybe you want to level up your characters faster, you can make that adjustment as well. There's also an opportunity to make the enemies more difficult in this section, so if you want to up your challenge, that's another option as well. Now, as I mentioned, you have this reincarnation feature in the Dark Assembly as well, and so this is a great way to power up your characters. Eventually, you'll be able to boost their movements, their throw ability, their counterattack numbers, and much more. Each character class also has different ranking levels within them, so as you level up these character classes more, you'll be able to acquire better versions of them as you reincarnate your characters, which will level up their stats even quicker. Now, one thing that stands out with the Disgaea series is really the grindiness of the game. And so in most RPGs, you're typically going to max out at like level 99 or level 100, but the starting level cap of this game is 9,999. You can even break that going further, well above 500,000 and beyond. And so it gets a little bit crazy where you're leveling up all the time in the game, but that's definitely one of the addicting elements in the game as well. On top of that, you can really power up your characters in a lot of different ways. So another strategy to make your characters stronger is the item world. And so this actually allows you to dive into items, be it equipable items like weapons, armor, accessories, even consumable items throughout the game. You can go inside, level them up by defeating enemies in battles, making the equipment even stronger. There's also different rarity levels for the different items. and this just allows you to go even deeper into the items and level them up even further. This element of the game is really addicting as well, where if you really like an item or a piece of equipment, you can level it up and make it stronger. And another cool feature is that every character can equip any item in the game. So maybe if you're trying to level up lower level characters, you can bring them on a more difficult mission, give them some powerful equipment, and they can level up extremely fast. And so the item world is definitely an addicting element of the game to make your characters more powerful. Another way to do that is through the juice bar. And so this was a new addition to this game for me. It wasn't existent in the earlier Disgaea games I played, but this was another cool feature where you could use experience, mana, money, different things like that to power up your characters with different juice concoctions that you make as another quick way to level up your characters faster. Another option, similar to the item world, was a research squad that you could build out where you could send team members into the item world going on in the background where you're not actually fighting the battles, but as you play the game, they'll level up items that they're in and keep on trying. And so this is another great way to power up items and also find what are called innocents contained within items. And so these are different monsters within the items that once you kill them, they give permanent stat boosts and abilities to the items that are equipped. And once you've defeated them, you can actually take them out of the item you're in, combine them all together, and mix and match them as well on different items. So again, this is a really cool way to power up items. So for example, maybe you're equipping an axe and it has very strong attack, but maybe it doesn't have any defense boost with it. You could attach an innocent that has a defensive boost power to enhance that axe to now give you an additional defense boost when you equip it. So these different combinations are almost endless. And so it's another really cool feature within the game and another way that you can passively grow your characters in the background while you're doing everything else. On top of that, there's also a squad shop. This is kind of similar to the research mode in a way, where you can build a team of characters and everyone on that team will get a specific bonus depending on what squad you put them in. So for example, there's one option where you can have a leader present and then everyone else in the squad will gain experience in the form of a percentage of the experience that the leader gains. So if you had a very powerful character leading that squad, you could help level up those weaker characters all with that main character. And there's different squads available, so that can really switch up your playstyle as well. There's also a skill shop, so as I mentioned, characters can learn different skills depending on what class they're playing as. So it might be magic skills, it could be healing skills for your character, attack abilities, and much more. And you can also level up these skills, so as you use them, they become more powerful, they increase their damage range. And this is a cool feature in the game as well because you can extract skills from characters and get a scroll and give them to another character that maybe hasn't even played as that class type yet. You'll find a bunch of scrolls throughout the game as well to teach characters new abilities. And so again, it's another fun way to power up your characters and have them learn unique abilities that custom fit your playstyle. There's general quests as well. So there's a quest shop where you can accept different quests, which are mini challenges that you'll try and achieve throughout the game. Maybe it's defeating a certain number of enemy, maybe it's defeating enemies in a certain way. The list goes on almost forever. But as you complete these quests, you'll acquire new powerful items, gain additional money and mana that you can use to power up your characters and much more. So again, just another addicting element thrown into the game to complete all these different side quests. Now another fun feature in the game is an underworld hospital. And so this basically rewards you for dying and getting injured throughout the game. So the more damage you build up, the more SP that you build up over the game that you've used, and the more times your characters have died throughout the game, the better rewards you'll gain through this hospital. It's kind of giving you bonuses for failing at the game, and so it doesn't really punish you for trying to take on more challenging missions or to level up more powerful items, because even if you get hurt or die, there's benefits to that as well. There's also a cool demerit system where it's kind of like tiers of challenges that you'll try and do throughout the game that can give you karma to level up your characters more successfully in the reincarnation phase and much more. And so this is another fun element to the game, trying to complete these challenges. So it might be hitting level 99 for the first time, level 5,000 for the first time, hitting level 500,000, doing over 1 million damage in one hit, taking over 1 million damage in one hit. The list goes on, so there's a ton of different demerit challenges throughout the game as well that you can also use to power up your characters. And there's even DLC missions where you can unlock some of your favorite characters from Disgaea games past. and new missions to take on as a challenge as well. Now overall, I really enjoyed the story. I thought it was a quirky, fun adventure similar to other games in the Disgaea series. It has a funny, netherworld sense of humor, over-the-top anime antics, and a lot of twists and turns in the story that you don't see coming as well. So it's fun getting to go through the different missions and experience a playthrough with all these quirky characters. There's also extensive voice acting in all of the scenes, and so I really enjoyed that as well. This was also, to my understanding, the first Disgaea game to use 3D sprites throughout the game. In past games, they've just been more anime characters, kind of cel-shaded, and 2D characters moving around the board, but this time around they made full 3D models in the game as well. Now another big standout feature of the game was its AI system, or in this case it's called the Demonic Intelligence System. And so how this works, it really allows you to program your characters in a very in-depth way, how you want them to act within battles, and then you can allow the game to use auto battle, which is extremely helpful when you're trying to level up your characters quickly and go through the item world without having to strategically plan every single battle within the game. And now this gets really in-depth, and I thought it was really cool, where you can actually set up a series of different if-then statements. So it's like, if there's an enemy on the field, move towards them and attack with a normal attack. Or it's like, if there's an enemy on the field and it has the lowest defense, attack that enemy first. Or if they have a weakness to fire, attack them with a fire spell. And you can even prioritize this, so as you're going through the item world, there's different elements where you can break level spheres to level up the items faster. There's chests lying around. There's innocents that you can kill to power up the item further, and then the general enemies scattered across the board. And so you can put together a tier of activities where you prioritize one thing after another and just have one thing set, and it would basically play almost like you'd play a session yourself. So if you have general decisions that you tend to make over and over in the game, this can be a cool way to automate that process and help you level up and get past the grindiness of the game a little bit faster and simpler. This can actually be used in combination with speeding up the game as well. So you'll be able to unlock these different bonuses to speed up the game throughout the Dark Assembly. So you can go 2 times as fast, 4 times, 8 times and beyond as you progressively unlock these new tiers of speeding up the game. And so again, this can really help you grind through the game a lot faster. There's even a way where you can auto repeat a level. So instead of going back and forth in and out of the menu, it will just have you keep repeating the same battle over and over again to level up your characters incredibly fast. I'm not gonna lie, I definitely use this feature while working out, even sometimes playing other games, and having this in the background, just constantly leveling up my characters, making them more powerful. Now occasionally you might die using this strategy, but for me that was really few and far between. And so in those battles, I would jump in, adjust the strategy a little bit, defeat the enemies on my own, and then keep on progressing throughout the game. Sometimes this might also get stuck. Say if an enemy is out of range, there's probably a way that I could have gone even further detailed to make sure this didn't happen. But again, that really happened few and far between when I was using this feature. So overall, I think it performed pretty well. So needless to say, I put in a lot of hours to this game. So there's definitely a lot I like about this game. The storyline is great. It's super addicting. There's a ton of ways to power up your characters, which is great to fit your unique play style. But even with all those great things, there definitely were some negatives to the game, and I think it's at least worth mentioning those. I don't really think any of them are deal breakers, but there were definitely some things that stood out to me. And so first, I love the AI system that was super helpful to help you grind throughout the game and get more powerful. But at the same time, I felt that it made the game way too easy. I also kind of felt like it took away some of the accomplishment feeling to building a successful team. Even though I mapped out the moves I would do, the fact that I wasn't really doing it and it was happening at 8 times speed or more and took only a couple seconds to beat a lot of the battles, it took some of the fun out of it. And so again, like I said, I think it made the game a lot easier than it probably should have been. Part of the joy of these type of tactical RPGs is being tactical, having that strategy. And with this AI in place, I could really just set it on autopilot, have my characters do normal attacks, moving around the board, taking out enemies in a couple hits, if not even one hit every single time, because they had become so powerful. And so I really found myself using this a lot, maybe too much to an extent, where it became a crutch, but I also didn't really need to use much strategy, so I wasn't really expanding my character's skills, caring about weapon proficiency, trying to find the best item, because again, you could just set it for a couple minutes on repeat in a specific level, level up your characters a couple thousand levels, and then it's not much of a challenge at that point. So I really found myself going through the entire main storyline of the game without any challenge at all, taking out the final bosses in a single hit, and it wasn't really until I moved to the extra post-game missions and stages until I actually faced any kind of challenge throughout the game. So I'm sure if you didn't use this AI feature and the auto grinding features of the game as much as I did, this might not be an issue, but it's something to consider as you're playing the game. Now another thing that Disgaea is kind of known for is the crazy outlandish stats, the high levels of your character, and how powerful your characters can really get. And I definitely enjoyed that in early games in the series, but I almost feel like they took it too far in this game, where it really almost took you out of the game. And what I mean is that in past games, the level cap, as I mentioned, was 9,999, which was already ridiculous, but it took some effort to get there. It took some grinding. Even with the reincarnation feature, it took some effort to hit that cap and reincarnate and get there again. Where in this game, it was so incredibly easy to level up. I was literally leveling up every single battle I had. And so while that's definitely fun and cool in the beginning, it just got over the top at some points where my characters were on level 50,000, 60,000, 200,000. It just kept going up and up. And the numbers got so high, it kind of got ridiculous. And it almost made them meaningless. Where it's like you would do one attack and do 16 million damage, and then you'll get hit for 7 million damage. And you've got 800 million life. The numbers just kind of got ridiculous. And I felt like I stopped caring as much. And again, it kind of felt like it took away that feeling of accomplishment of really making your characters stronger when the numbers were so astronomical. On top of that, since it was so easy to level up your characters, I felt like I never really used all of the features to power up your characters. And kind of as I mentioned, I felt like it threw some of the tactics out of the window and the strategy out of the window where I never even had to do that. I could just set my characters to auto attack with their normal attack, and I didn't even have to bother with using any of my skills or abilities, or really paying attention to what class my characters were. They all just did massive damage with their regular attacks, no matter what class they were and what skills they had. I also noticed this in the Dark Assembly, where I might try and pass votes, and when it got to the point in later in the game, where I may be spending millions of mana to attempt to unlock different abilities, I didn't really care if I lost or not because I would just persuade everyone by force and immediately take them out in a couple hits. And so it didn't really have any risk to it because even if I failed, I could still kick everyone's butt and pass it anyway. And so I didn't really need to use any of the minigame features of bribing senators or getting them on my side or trying to be nice to them, whatever the case might be, because it was so easy to defeat them all and pass whatever I wanted. Also with this ability to unlock everyone so quickly, anytime I would acquire new characters from the story, I really didn't find myself using them at all because my base characters were so overpowered, and I didn't want to start over from scratch with this new team of characters that were so much less powerful. Where I've got a brand new character compared to a character I've reincarnated 20 or 30 times. One was obviously going to be way stronger than a brand new character, and I didn't want to go through the effort of grinding those characters up to be just as powerful. So again, there's a few different negatives to the game that might take some of the fun out of it or make it a little easier than you might expect if you fully utilize those AI features. But obviously, I still had a blast with the game, putting in well over 100 hours into it. It's super addicting. I like the storyline. Even though it was sort of easy to an extent, I still definitely enjoyed the game. I'm sure if you avoid using those AI features to the extent that I did, it'll be a lot more challenging and probably a lot more fun. But even with those negatives, I really enjoyed the game. And I think if you're a fan of the Disgaea series, this one's worth checking out. Or if you're new to the series, this could be a great entry point, as it's got a fun story and a ton of different addicting and fun qualities to the game as well. But let me know in the comments below, how did you feel about this game? Do you feel it stacks up to the other games in the Disgaea series? Do you think this is an entry worth playing? Did you abuse the AI features like I did in the game? Let me know in the comments below. If you'd like to pick up a copy, there'll be a link in the description below as well. And if you like this video, be sure to smash that like button as it really helps out the channel. And if you like videos like this on video games, board games, and everything nerdy, check out one of our other videos here. And if you haven't done so yet, be sure to subscribe and turn on the bell notifications to get the latest updates of new videos we put out. But once again, thanks for tuning in, and we'll talk to you more soon.